Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Space Marine 2 guide. In this video, I just want to show you that Assault class in this game is not trash. The class is hard to master, and it's not like other characters that have tons of easy survivability tactics. For example, look at the Heavy class with its Strategic Stand perk. Every time this class takes a heavy stance, it will restore his contested health, which pairs well with either the Heavy Bolter or the Multi-Melty Gun. Each time you hit with your primary, you will restore your contested health, which is the white health bar, and oftentimes you will restore to full health with this perk alone, especially if you are being hoarded by tons of enemies. The Assault class is different, and if you go into his perk menu and then hover over his class's unique ability, you will see that below the jump pack description, the class has a unique perfect dodge timing increased by 50%. In short, this class is better at dodging compared to the other class in the game. Based on experience playing the Assault class, this character is inclined towards a finesse style of gameplay, wherein dodging is your main source of survivability, and player awareness is the key to having tons of fun playing this class. Assault is not a button mash class, and I want to show you all the things I have learned to have fun with this character. Let's take a look at the Assault's perk tree, and I will show you the perks I am using right now and why I have it for my playstyle. In the video thumbnail, you will see that I included the Assault signature pistol because I think it's the most important thing that everyone should know in playing this class. First of all, this perk called Armor Reinforcement will be one of your best ways of surviving even in the hardest difficulty in the game. The perk restores one armor segment per successful gun strike, and you can abuse this by using a forward strike of any of your melee weapons. Use this in smaller units as they get knocked down, and just simply press the fire key to shoot your pistol and restore one aim or segment. This is a perfect tactic in keeping your health in good condition, especially when enemies are swarming you. Now you have 2 survivability, the better evasion from your unique passive, and the armor restoration from gun strike. The second perk I have is the Auxiliary Arsenal, which increases my pistol damage by 15%. I need further tests, but it seems like the pistol damage only works when you use your secondary the normal way, and the damage buff doesn't add to the gun strike damage. Nonetheless, it's still a good choice for me as your secondary is your main weapon in dealing against ranged enemies and even flying units. When you are dealing with a ranged terminus enemy, your number one source of damage is your pistol, and you only use melee if there's an opening like the boss got staggered or targeting your allies. Try to learn the attack pattern of each terminus unit first before rushing and using your melee, and the safest thing to do is dealing damage with your secondary weapon. In normal difficulties, it's great to have the Perseverance perk as it hinders any interruption when you are doing any charge attacks with your melee weapon, but in Ruthless difficulty, you don't want to use a charge attack while there is a swarm of enemies hitting you while charging. When you do this, it's like you are inviting the enemies to just kill you, and most of the time, you will be dodging, parrying attacks, doing gun strike, landing ground pound, and performing executions in Ruthless mode. I only do charge attacks when it's safe, or I have max armor to spare and perform the move and kill the target. These type of attacks are costly, and they are slow, especially when you are using a hammer, so it's wise to choose when to use it rather than just spamming the attack. Instead of Perseverance, I just use the Knowledge of the Enemy, which increases my damage against Majoris and Extremis enemies in Ruthless difficulty. The third perk is also a good choice, but I hate that the debuff disappears after 3 seconds, and while you are getting swarmed, it's not that very effective unless you can land a big charge attack or hit ground and pound before the debuff is removed from the target. For the team perk, I have chosen the Proven Efficiency for the increased gun strike damage to all team members. Now, I know many would suggest going either Squad Cohesion or Strategic Strikes, but in my opinion, the third perk is way more useful. Ability recharge is good, but there is a better strategy to fill your ability gauge while playing Assault. On the other hand, I always use my secondary first fighting Terminus level enemies in Ruthless difficulty, and while the melee damage buff is for all the members of the squad, I just can't put down the gun strike increase bonus. This is because for every gun strike you do, you will have better chances of depleting the health bar of enemy and leaving them vulnerable for execution, and like I have said earlier, gun strikes and execution are one of the main survivability toolkits of an Assault in Ruthless difficulty. Now, for the 5th perk, I chose Smiting Angel as this pairs well with Zealous Blow to kill Minoris units. I know many will say that the Precision Strike perk is better, but the reality is that this won't kill any Majoris enemies in Ruthless difficulty. It would take 3 or 4 ground and pound to make warrior types vulnerable to execution, and I use the jump pack at best in using ground and pound against Minoris enemies. And there are instances wherein some Minoris enemies hit by ground and pound don't die, but they are vulnerable to finishers, and this perk just makes it better. The moment I restore my jump pack with the bonus damage from this perk, the next ground and pound will be more deadly, killing not just small enemies but possibly exposing warrior type to execution. Again, while the increased damage of this perk is good, the negative effect on range is bad in my opinion, and it's not as efficient as you might think in a real mission. And finally, the last perk I chose is the Ample Ammunition, so that every time I use my jump pack, my pistol will be on full magazine. Now, before we proceed to weapons and upgrades, I would also like to share that I am also planning to practice the Aerial Grace Focus and Commitment perk. This perk gives 25% bonus damage, while this perk refills your jump pack after a successful dodge while using your unique ability. With the 50% increase in dodge timing, it's really easy to evade enemy hits with the Assault class. But right now, I can't time well the jump pack dodge, which is just a skill issue. Probably with more time spent in the game, I will be more skillful, and just imagine what these two perks can do when the jump pack is almost available for use every time. But for now, I will be sticking with the ample ammunition perk for efficiency in using my secondary, and the pride and duty perk for the 25% increase in damage. Okay, let's move on to the weapon choices. For the secondary, I picked the Ophelian Liberation Alpha because of its high magazine capacity bonus. This pistol has good damage and accuracy, and this is perfect for my playstyle. Now, the reason why I want to try the Commitment perk in my Assault perk tree is that this passive on the pistol reloads the gun after performing a gun strike. Most of the time, I perform gun strikes in Ruthless difficulty, and the perk from my Assault class is kind of redundant. But then again, I'm just too noob right now to do the jump pack dodge, and I need more practice. Lastly, there is no best melee weapon for this class, as the Power Fist, the Chainsword, and the Thunder Hammer offers a different playstyle to the Assault class. Some will say that you should avoid the hammer as it's very slow, and the best is the Chainsword because it's thematically accurate also, as Space Marines are usually seen holding a chainsword and a pistol. But after diving balls deep into the Assault class, I found that it's not about the weapon being weak, but because I am using it wrong. The Thunder Hammer is slow, but deals massive damage to a crowd if you pick the right time and place to slam your charge attacks. Recklessness is a disadvantage while using the Thunder Hammer, but knowing when to use the charge attacks will obliterate all your enemies. For the perk selection, I strongly recommend the Fast Preparation to lessen the charge time of Aftershock. Then proceed to getting Reclamation that will restore your contested health once you hit enemies with either Aftershock or Ground Slam. And finally, get Aftershock improved, so you will get one additional spin, which is so good to watch while playing Thunder Hammer. After charging, your Assault class will slam the hammer to the ground, which is the Aftershock attack, and when you have this perk, it will slam the second time. The best part is the second slam has fast animation, and it also has high damage similar to the first Aftershock hit. In the case of the Chainsword, it's pure hack and slash, but not the brainless version, as you will also need to time where to perform your heavy attacks and then use your charge attacks as finishers. Then finally, the Power Fist is a pure haymaker beast and has some of the coolest execution in the game right now. The uppercut animation, as well as the finisher wherein your Assault class will body press the enemy and rip it apart, is just pure gore and satisfaction. Not to mention that Power Fist also has damage reduction while you are performing charge attacks when your health is at 30%. The perks of the Chainsword is by far my easiest choice, as all I did is focus on getting as much balance between survivability and damage. Although my selection for the Chainsword variant is weak in paper, as it only got 10 strength compared to the Teeth version, still I prefer the former because the fencing defense is unmatched when using the heavy class. And lastly, for the Power Fist, it's all about survivability and pairing it with some damage nodes along the way. Again, when you master the art of parry and evasion with the heavy class, you won't need too much damage boost on your weapon perk, and you will instead love the extra utility from its perk tree. Besides, Power Fist is more fun with executions, as it has one of the most badass finisher animations in the game. I almost forgot an important detail, and that is what weapon variant I am using in my melee right now. For all melee weapons, I use the one with the fencing, as this will help a lot in parrying enemy attacks. There's no in-between while playing with Assault class, and you don't want to just use melee weapons with only blocking for defenses. It will definitely cripple this class. I honestly can say that Assault class is not bad, but it needs a lot of practice to have fun with the character. The class is more on dodging gun strikes, parrying enemy attacks, and doing executions or finishers most of the time. It's like playing Elden Ring, but you are a Space Marine with cool finisher moves. In addition, player awareness is also a key. Again, the Assault class is not brainless smashing of buttons, but you will need to be aware all the time of what type of enemies are you dealing with, then your current surroundings, and how you will approach the situation so you can perform gun strikes and executions to obliterate all enemies swarming your team. To make it short, you will use your brain while playing Assault, and I haven't done that before with the heavy class since I was overly reliant on the multi-melty gun, killing everything that moves. The Assault class offers a different playstyle, and while it's hard to master, it's very rewarding and fun to use once you have learned all the things needed by this class. And I hope this video wherein I share my experience while using the Assault class will be your first step in truly harnessing the power of this Space Marine. So that's all about it. If you have something to add or want to ask something, then feel free to write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again in our next video. Squad Leader, signing off.